All right, so welcome to the second subsection of this section on race and segregation, and we're going to move on from that the racism, segregation, and apartheid in the American South um, and South Africa, and start talking about some related but slightly different things. First thing I want to talk about is India and their caste system. Okay, and a caste system is really kind of weird. It's similar to racism and it's similar to classism, but it's not really either. Okay, um, but it's similar enough that it was worthy of being included in this section. So essentially, with the Indian caste system, there's a hierarchy. There's a hierarchy that is essentially biological of the top people, the middle people, and then the bottom people. And you can see there's a chart right there showing what that caste system kind of looks like in this traditional Indian culture. And at the top, those are the rich people, the people who get all the benefits, and the people who are allowed to do essentially whatever they want. At the bottom, those are the ultra poor, the people who get, who are unworthy of help or wealth or any things like that. Interestingly, though, it's not based on race. Um, it's there's no concept of the amount of melanin in your skin determines which caste you're in, like there was in South Africa and America. Um, it's not really biological in that way. But it's also different from class because with class, kind of by definition, you have mobility, right? You can be born in a poor family and grow up to be super rich. You can be born super rich and end up poor, right? So there's with a class system, you can move up and down the ladder. With a caste system, you can't. Um, it's very much you're born into one caste, you get a job based on that, you get an education based on what caste you're in, you get a job based on what caste you're in, you spend your entire life based on this caste you're in. And no matter how well you do or how poorly you do, you can't move up or down. Um, I am not an expert on the Hindu religion at all, so forgive me if this is inaccurate or an oversimplification. But as I understand it, the Hindu religion essentially says if you lead a good life based on your lot in life, the cards you were dealt when you were young. If you lead a good life based on that, when you die, you will be reincarnated and move up a level. If you are bad at your job and you don't go with the program and you argue a lot and try to change the system, um, when you die, you'll get reincarnated moving down a level, right? So essentially, that is used in the society to justify having these levels and then accepting your level if you're not at the high end. And, oh, it'll be okay. I'll live a good life. I'll be a good, street cleaner in this life. And then in the next life, I'll move up a level and I'll have a much better life next time. But there are formal rules about who you're allowed to interact with in this caste system, right? So you're not allowed to marry anybody outside of your caste. You're not allowed to interact with, except in certain ways, members outside of your caste. There's a very kind of formalized how you act and what you do and who else you're able to be friends with or date or marry or any of those things based on this formal caste system. Another thing we have to talk about is sexism, because I think sexism is very similar to racism and classism and all those things in that it is a essentially artificial separateness, right? You are lesser because of your skin color or what's in your wallet or what's between your legs, right? It's this marginalization based on things other than action, right? Um, So, similar to racism, there is a male-dominated culture in the vast majority of the world, right? Um, but that has been recognized. In 1979, the United Nations came out with, um, uh, a new declaration or treaty that essentially said, look, women deserve the right to vote, they deserve the right to stand for election, and they deserve the right to hold public office. Right? We need to start recognizing that women are deserving of just as many, especially political, but also social rights as men are. We need to stop treating them as a lower class of humanity. And that has seen some benefit, right? So down at the bottom there's 4 female leaders of countries. One is from Turkey, one is from Senegal. On the far left is the current chancellor of Germany. So we've gotten women into positions of power in some places and at some points, but this is a continuing, ongoing problem. Okay, a lot of people, I speak to students and friends, and they'll say, "Oh, well, it's great that women have equal rights now." And it's like, well, they don't. There's still a lot of inequality between men and women, even in the Western civilized world. Okay, one of the more common things people talk about is the wage gap, right? I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, the latest ones, but it's something like women earn 79 cents for every dollar that men make. And the counter argument to that is, yeah, but if you control for things like job choice and how much time they take off to take care of kids, that mostly disappears, and women earn 95 cents for every dollar a man makes, which that argument is completely missing the point. Okay? We as a society have told women that there's men's work and there's women's work. And if you try to go into men's work, we're going to harass you and try to convince you to get out of it. So you should go into women's work, and then they decide that men's work is worth a lot more pay than women's work. So even if you look at just medical doctors, right? The 2 specialties that have the highest ratio of women doctors are OBGYNs and pediatrics. Those are also just happen to be 2 of the lowest, if not the lowest, paid specialties in the entire medical field. That's not a coincidence. That's the fact that those 2 are looked at as women's work and thus valued less by society. And we push women into that kind of job rather than the men's work that is much more higher paying. So here's a few kind of graphs that show that women still have, we as a society are still not quite giving women equal social, economic, and political power, right? So here's elective offices held by women in the United States. Okay, this stops at 2015. 2018, we saw the most gender diverse U.S. Congress in American history. It was 25% women. So the most gender diverse Congress in U.S. history is only 25% women. It means it's 75% men. I mean, that's still incredibly unequal. This is data from Denmark, but I believe it's equal across most of the Western world, where if women have a child, their earnings drop. But if men have a child, they don't. Because again, society tells women that it's their job to either stop working or work fewer hours or, go down to a lower paying position so that they can take care of their kids. And it's not a man's job to do that. Our society, all of Western society essentially, says that women are the caretakers for kids and men aren't. Thus, having kids hurts women's earning power. It doesn't hurt men's earning power. Here's data from Canada, where the media, news, television, radio, newspapers, men appear way more often than women. Fortune 500 CEOs, okay, 5% of the CEOs are women. And then it is kind of hard to read, but this is NPR radio shows and who they contact as experts. And the green bar is women and the yellow bar is men for these 4 different radio shows. So we still have a long way to go. We're making progress, right? This line is going in the right direction. We're making progress on giving women equal social, economic, and political power, but we're not there yet, right? There's still a lot more work to be done, both for sexism, for racism, for classism. It's still causing a lot of problems, even in the 21st century. But anyway, that's the end of this section. Thank you so much for watching.